I can't imagine. No, I can't imagine. I went to war. I fought in a war. And I can't imagine standing on the street across from soldiers, weapons with nothing. Blows my mind. You see the bravery that they have. I'm a tough guy. I'm a soldier. I'm 6'4", 250. I couldn't. I don't know if I could do that. I don't think I could do that. I really don't. I don't know if I have that courage. But it goes to show you it takes a community. It takes a community. And that's what the Iranians are showing right now. It takes a freaking community. It takes a people.
You're a man living in the modern world in a time when men and manhood are not what they once were. You live life on your own terms. You're self-sufficient. You think for yourself and you march to the beat of your own drum. When life knocks you down, you get back up because in your gut, you know that's what men do. You're a badass and a warrior. And on the days when you forget, we are here to remind you who you really are.
We have a special episode for you today. It is an episode with one of the world's leading global strategists when it comes to economics, geopolitics, and diplomacy. He's a man with his finger on the pulse of what's going on in some of the hot spots in the world, and in particular, in my home country of Iran. I'm speaking, of course, of the one and only Steven Kuhn. Welcome to the show, Steven.
Thanks, Dickie. I appreciate that gracious introduction.
You bet. So, brother, before we get into it, just give everybody a quick backstory on who you are and how you got to be doing what you do so far.
Yeah, I have no idea how I got here, but I can tell you what I've done. I joined the military when I was 19 years old, left America in 1986, went to Germany, was stationed there for 7 years, went to Iraq, did one stint there, went back to Germany, got out, stayed in Europe, and traveled through 10 countries, opened up 20 businesses, exited those, ran 2 large corporations, started in politics in 2003, founded a political pressure group in Germany, which turned into the AfD, which is now the largest which is the largest, most popular party in Germany. My 2 partners still run it. Beatrix von Storch is the vice chair, and Sven von Storch is the chief strategist, not only for the AfD, but for Orban, for the Chilean government. He's actually there right now, and a few other governments as well. I'm still in contact with those. All of these military guys that I hung out with, and all of the intel guys, all the way from Russians to Italians to you name it, I got it. And they keep feeding me with information, and I didn't know what to do with it, so I started making videos. And then when my wife's Ukrainian, and so when the war broke out and stuff, I didn't really do much. And then a year ago, when England got involved, started sending rockets into Russia, I'm like, come on, this can't be happening. So I just did a video, and then Alex Jones shared that video, and the rest is history. I've got 500 million views in the last 12 months.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah.
Your wife's Ukrainian. What is that like, brother?
Well, it's put it this way. We had to extract her parents, my in-laws, from there because they lived in Kharkiv, depends if you're speaking Russian or Ukrainian.
Yeah.
And now they live next to us. So you tell me. No, I was kidding.
You live with your in-laws? You're
no, not
man.
with, but
next
close.
It's still pretty great of you, bud. Holy.
So no, it was, it's amazing actually. It's a very old culture, and they're very traditional. So man is man, woman is woman. Man takes care of the business, the woman takes care of the house and the kids. But my wife is absolutely beautiful, runs 3 businesses of her own, and is an amazing woman. So I'm blessed to be with her. I really am.
That's awesome. So, brother, let's talk about Iran. As you and I were saying off camera, there was some good news this morning. President Trump put out that post on Truth Social telling the Iranian people, keep protesting, keep taking over the institutions, take down the names of your killers and your abusers. They're going to pay a heavy price, and help is on the way, MEGA. And I got to say, my spirits were lifted because the last couple of days have been pretty darn dark. There's reports of 12,000 dead brave freedom fighters. And I know that you are receiving intel from people that are better informed than most of us. So why don't you update us on what's going on, man?
Well, I'm reading it as he's writing right now. So it's like he's been sending me this since the podcast started. But basically, the short story is that the secretary and the president issued vocal orders to start force flow into the aircraft carrier groups and marine expeditionary units because Iran has crossed the red line. And Trump set out about not touching the protesters. That was his thing. Don't touch the protesters anymore, or we're coming. And now they're coming. So it's they I've confirmed what I said a few days ago is that Iran actually brought in ISIS mercenaries
Yep.
to kill the protesters, which is unbelievable.
Totally.
And there's not much else that you don't already know. But he says this: if the Iran regime falls and the Shah returns, or the Crown Prince, the Ayatollah, has issued a global fatwa to reclaim Iran, Mecca, under the fold of the caliphate. They knew this was going to happen. It's a magnet principle that failed because of political waffling in Iraq. Basically, Iran will act as a magnet to pull radicals away from the West back to the Middle East, where they can be then embattled, put it that way. So Saudi and UAE may be exposed as well, as complicit state sponsors. So I don't know where this is going, but it's pretty dangerous. If we look at the big picture right now, right? What's Trump doing? Venezuela, Mexico, Colombia, that's all locked up now, stopping the flow of money, which goes east, not only that far east, but all the way east, like trickling all the way through. So he's blocked off all of that cartel's money, which is trillions of dollars that went into everything from shipping companies to weapons, to ISIS, to you name it, right? Greece, and you name it, Australia. That's all being cut off now. That's stopped. And then he's moving over to Europe, pulling us out of all of the NATO and all of the other 66 organizations we've pulled out of now, so we don't have to answer to them. America doesn't have to answer to them. And then he's going to Davos in 14 days to slam our demands on the table and see what happens. Europe is panicking because without America, there's no logistics, there's no supply, and there's no support for NATO. They have armies, but they have nothing in between. So there's no support, there's no logistics, and there's no supply, there's no intel. All right? If America pulls out, Europe's pretty much just single countries again, right? All of this is happening at the same time. Then you got Taiwan, then you got Greenland, then you got Canada. It's all happening at the same time. This is Trump taking out the imperial ownership of the planet, so to say, right? Almost like the Dark Star, or whatever you call it, from Star Wars.
Yeah.
He's actually doing this.
It's Death Star.
Yeah, Death Star, that's it. Yeah. I've never watched Star Wars in my life, funny enough.
What?
Dude,
you have to watch the first 3 Star Wars. The rest of them are woke nonsense. But the first 3 movies, you are culturally deprived if you don't watch them. They're amazing.
Well, 1977, when it came out, right, that everybody wanted to go to Star Wars. But at the same time, there was a movie that came out called The Death of Abraham Lincoln. And I was a history buff. So I was like 14 or whatever I was. No, I was 10. I went to Death of Abraham Lincoln, and my dad had to sit through that with me while my brothers and sisters all went to Star Wars.
Steven, we're going to become great friends. I'm going to invite you to come visit me in Canada. Okay. Tell your wife to go hang out with some girls. I'll send my wife with her too. You and I are going to have a Star Wars and steak day. Okay?
All right. Deal.
All right.
Sounds good, man. Yeah. So it's a harrowing situation. And I got to tell you, I've lived in 10 countries, and in those 10 countries, I've owned businesses. I've owned over 20 businesses. And I ran corporations. I had one corporation I ran. It was 87 locations in 9 countries. And one of those countries was Germany. And one of the places was Hamburg. And I could always choose where I put my office, and I would switch it every 6 months, 8 months, and go to different countries and do whatever I wanted. And the one place I went was Hamburg, Germany. And I'm not sure if you know, but that's one of the places in the world where most Persians are outside of Iran. Yeah. Packed, dude, packed. Every export company, every shipping company, it's all Iranian. It's all Persians.
My dad did a lot of business. He was an import-exporter for hospital equipment, and he did business with a lot of German companies, UK companies, and US companies in particular.
Yep. Yeah. Well, when I was there, I had 70 employees in the one location in Hamburg, and I hired half of them were Persians. Because I remember I interviewed one I was looking for an assistant. And she was 23 years old, from Iran, Banafsha Esfahani. And that was her name. And she sat in front of me, 23 years old, spoke 5 languages, had 2 degrees, and knew what I was thinking before I even said it. I was like, where the hell do you come from? I thought, that's an anomaly. And then she said, I got some friends, maybe you want to hire them too. So I started talking. They were all like that, all of them. Gracious, well-spoken, educated, and calm, chose their words, seeking solutions. I was shocked because then it just kept going. I have a friend who lives in Zurich. Yeah. I got friends in the UK. I got friends in Germany, Persians. They're all the same. They all have the same, I don't even know how you do it. Some of them are born in different countries, raised in different countries, different economic, sort of levels where they live and where they work, but they're all the same. That temperament, that togetherness, that non-aggressive, that It's incredible to me. I don't even know how you guys do it. It's like a unspoken rule that if you're Persian, you got to be this way or that way. But it was so touching to me when I did that video. I've gotten, it's in the last, 3 days since I made those videos, I've gotten 5,000 messages.
Whoa.
From Iranians. From Iranians.
Whoa.
5,000 messages. I can't even read them.
That's a lot of messages.
And they're just like, yeah, they're like, thank you so much. It's more than 5, but that's when I stopped counting. And they're like, thank you so much for being the voice. It's good to see that someone actually cares, and yada, yada, yada. And it's like, wow, this blows me away. And I've done videos on Bulgaria. I've done videos on Romania. I've done videos on Germany, you name it. I got like 5, thank you. Or, hey, you got this wrong, or whatever. But no. And my Twitter exploded. I went from like 40,000 to 60,000 just from that one or two videos, And it's incredible to me that the gratitude, which should be normal, but it's not.
It's not, no.
So I don't want to get too deep into it, but man, it's he's like, if possible, delete these messages I just sent you. I think he went a little too far.
Yeah. So let me tell you, last night I found on Instagram a few messages, a few videos. One of them was an Iranian director, filmmaker. He's a legend. His name is Jafar Panahi, and he had an award from the New York critics. And I watched him give his acceptance speech, and basically what he did was he thanked and dedicated the award to the Iranian people, to his countrymen who are fighting, bleeding, and dying. And he said that he was very proud to do so, and that he was praying that soon they would overthrow their oppressors. He's going back to Iran. Now, they're telling him, hey, man, Jafar, you can stay in Europe, you can stay in America, you're going to thrive, you're going to do great, like you are the shit, because he's the shit filmmaker.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, I'm going back. And he's going back to serve a prison sentence. Brother, he could be killed. Like, he's going to go back to his country rather than stay in the West, because he wants to be with patriots. I fucking forgot, if you can believe it, what absolute brave lions my people are. Who does this?
I was saying that too. I was like,
nobody.
I can't imagine. No, I can't imagine. I went to war. I fought in a war.
Yeah.
And I can't imagine standing on the street across from soldiers, weapons, with nothing.
With nothing.
And still saying
and walking into the guns.
Blows my mind. Blows my mind.
And another Iranian director was just murdered by the regime. His name is Javad Ganji, and he's pretty famous as well. And he was murdered by snipers on January 9th. Murdered by snipers, bro. It's crazy. And J.K. Rowling on X posted, and it makes me emotional to even repeat it every time. But she said the bravery of these people is astounding. They're a light in what has lately seemed like a very dark world. And that's how I feel. That's how I feel. That's how I felt.
Dude, that's how I feel too. That's what I mean. Like, look, who sends out 5,000 messages? Who says thank you that many times in their life? I mean, it's even now. I haven't posted a video for 3 days about Iran, and I'm still getting all these messages and posts and stories shared 1,000 times or whatever it is, And it's like the gratitude, man, And then you see the bravery that they have. Again, I'm a tough guy. I'm a soldier. I'm 6'4", 250. I couldn't. I don't know if I could do that. I don't think I could do that. I really don't. I don't know if I have that courage.
Dude, if I was there with those people, I'd be scared, but I'd do it. But here in Wussy land, no way, man. No way, right? But standing next to other brave people, bravery begets bravery,
Did you see that video of that young kid? It brought me to tears. On the street in Iran, they pixeled his face, but he was crying. He says, I have to go. I have to go. I can't sleep at night because I know that my mother will never be proud of me and that I have to do something. If we don't make this happen, then I'm at fault for the rest of my life, brother. And I know that I might not come back, but I have no choice. I have to do this. Let me go. Please let me go. He's pleading with his family to let him go. I was like, God dang. It's like a 15, 17-year-old kid. Incredible to even have that depth of thought.
Yes.
At that age.
Yeah.
Like, how am I going to feel later? What if I look back and I didn't do what I was supposed to do? This, that, and the other. At 15 or 17, whatever he was, Yeah, it's astounding. Of course, you never know how you're going to act in those situations. I know how I acted in war. I got scared at first, but then I went all in. It's like you go past the point where fear disappears, and it's just like survival. And you're just like, I'm going in. I got to get them before they get me, kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
And so bravo. Hats off. There's not even any words to describe it, really, because you can't. It's just like people say, what was it like being in war? I said, I could talk until I'm blue in the face. You still wouldn't understand. No. We won't understand because we've never been there.
No. Back in 78, there were gun battles in the streets near my home, and mom and dad were understandably freaked out. I mean, imagine your children being at risk. It's not a fun feeling for a parent to think that. And then one day, there was a crash through our living room window, brother, and an object sailed through. I mean, shards of glass went everywhere, and it landed next to my feet, and I had no idea what it was. But my father knew exactly what it was, and he grabbed it. It was a Molotov cocktail, and geez. It was he pulled out the burning rag, and it obviously it didn't explode. And that's when mom and dad looked at each other and said, "We're leaving. We are making a plan, and we're leaving." And it took them a couple years because it was chaos back then. It wasn't so easy to go. But 2 years after that, we left. We were in Athens, Greece, in August of 1980. But Greece didn't want us. They wanted us to go, so we applied to become landed immigrants in Canada. And mom and dad just thought at the time, just the hostage crisis was too fresh, and it hadn't been released when we started the process. And we just thought, no, let's go to Canada, not the U.S. So we took 2 years for Canada to say yes, and we had to keep fighting with the Greeks to let us stay because they wanted to kick us out and deport us all the time. God, what a different time than now, eh?
Oh yeah, man. Well, even now, I mean, there was the refugee crisis in Europe. I was living in Budapest at the time when I first started, right? When all those millions of refugees came from Syria and, purportedly from Syria. Yeah. And Hungary wouldn't let them through to go to West Europe, to Germany or Austria. They said, no, you're stopping here because you have to register in Greece where you came from. There's a law in Europe. If you come into Europe, you have to register as a refugee in the first country you're in. And Greece is like, keep going. So Greece sent them through to Serbia. Serbia came to Hungary. Hungary said, you ain't going nowhere. So I went down there. There was about 5,000 refugees there. And I had my phone with me. I'm like, I want to be a reporter, right? This is like 217 or something. Yeah. And it took me about 3 hours to find anybody from Syria. There was Iranians, there was Serbians, there was Afghanis, you name it, everybody but Syrians. And then I met a doctor, a guy with a beard, looked really like a nice guy, spoke almost perfect English. I'm like, what are you doing here? He goes, we were lined up at the bank. They gave us all 3,500 euros to get out. I said, what do you mean? He goes, yeah, they paid us to leave. I'm like, what? Yeah. There's some NGO down there paying them 3,500 euros to leave towards Europe. And so I finally found 3 guys from Syria, and I said, hey, what happened? What's going on in your country? Oh, there's war, and we had to get out and stuff like that. And I'm like, oh yeah, how was it getting out? He goes, oh no, we were living in Turkey for the last 3 years, but now we're going to Germany because you can make more money there. So it's like this whole mess. Yeah, it was crazy. So I've been in knee deep into it in about every country you can imagine. And I had no business doing any of this stuff, by the way. It just sort of did it. Just sort of happened, always threw itself in front of me. And fortunately for me, I have a lot of experience and a lot of strange things which are coming to play right now, which are a massive benefit for a lot of people. I mean, hell, I got a thank you from President Trump through one of his handlers, or what do you want to call him, for some information that I gave him, from something that I got. And I was like, wow, check that out. I'm in Turkey, right? So I live in Turkey, and you're sitting in your living room in Turkey and you're getting something from Trump. You're like, this is weird. How can this even be? But it goes to show you, it takes a community. It takes a community. That's what the Iranians are showing right now. It takes a freaking community. It takes a people.
Well, on December 31st, I reached out to my good buddy, Wayne Allen Root, who I've written 2 books with, and he's a good friend of the president's. And I said, Wayne, the Iranians are pouring out into the streets, risking their lives to overthrow this regime. And it would mean the world to them if the administration would support them. Would you be willing to ask the president to issue a public statement of support? Wayne never gets back to me fast, bud? Yeah. Never. He's like a day later, if I'm lucky, right? He got back to me in under a second. This is how I know this was divinely inspired. And the answer was yes. And 30 seconds later, he's taken what I wrote him, and he's taken the essence of it, copy paste part of it, and then added his own take, saying, "Mr. President, people of Iran are in the streets fighting for their freedom. It would mean the world to them if you would issue a public statement of support, because if they overthrow this regime, this is going to be good for regional stability. Would you please do this?" And then he texts the president's assistant, and a woman named Natalie. And Natalie says, gets a text going, "Would you please make sure the president sees this text?" Because he gets a lot of texts from his buddies.
Yeah.
And 8 hours later was when he issued his first statement of support, which was the regime, you guys, your custom is to shoot and kill protesters, but if you do that, the U.S. military is locked and loaded, will come to the rescue. Yeah. Boom. A whole ray of hope went out there, and the regime was instantly like kind of a little nervous.
Dude.
Then they got freaked out because these guys are succeeding. More and more people are defecting. So they said, screw it, we got to start shooting. So they start shooting. And while that's going on, I'm going, they're going to cut the internet soon. So I go to Wayne and I go, "Man, can you ask him to ask Elon to give him Starlink, because they need it?" And then, immediately what I did was post an article that showed that he was providing Starlink to Venezuela. So Wayne goes, "Okay, I'm on it," sent it to the president. A day later, they cut off all the internet, and almost instantly Starlink was there providing it for free. So I'm going, okay, like, I'm nobody, but hell, I'm having some influence through somebody who's a personal friend of the president's. And then he has a TV show, a podcast, and a radio show. And his podcast is called The War Zone. It's with the Gateway Pundit. Do you know that website? Yeah, the Gateway Pundit. So he's the official podcast of the Gateway Pundit, which is the 5th largest conservative news outlet in the U.S. So he has me on. We talk about this, and he goes, "You and I, the Persian and the Jew, are having an impact to try and save the people of Iran." And he said, "This is like Harry Truman recognizing Israel." And he said, "You didn't know this, Nikki, but Harry Truman grew up with a couple of Jewish guys that were friends of his. And when Israel was fighting for its recognition by the world community, one of these guys had the ear of the president and went to him and said, 'Hey, Harry, my friend, please recognize Israel. This is why it's good.'" And Truman had fond memories of his time with these gents, and it heavily influenced him to recognize the state of Israel. And without that recognition, Israel may not have made it. And without Trump saying what he did, Iran and the protesters may not have made it. And especially now, today, when he issued that very powerful message on Truth Social, I'm grateful because I'm here. I'm in a safe country. I'm not getting shot at. And that makes me feel a little inspired as well as a little embarrassed for not doing enough. And I got a business to run myself,
always
right? But I'm going all in to help the people. And then when I have time, I've got my calls with potential clients and things like that.
Yeah.
But this is the number one thing on my mind right now.
Yeah, of course. And we can speak openly here. It took me away from my business as well, because I started answering these messages, and I spent a whole day just giving them moral support wherever I could, Of course, most of them, I don't know if any of them were in Iran or not, or out of Iran. Most of them were outside of Iran, I'm guessing. But gracious and just incredible. And when I did my video, I said, look, Trump needs to say something, because just like you said, just that hope, just that, hey, we're here and just that is all they needed for that little bit of a push. Yep. And then 37 million people, 75% of the urban communities. Because I said, how many people live in the cities in Iran? And it was 34 million people were on the streets, and that's 75% of all the urban communities. So you can figure that the people in the countries probably didn't go out to protest because they're in the country. So 75% of the cities were out.
Yeah, boom,
crazy.
And with what he put out today, what's going to happen is that their efforts will be redoubled. They're going to have even more hope and more belief. And I got a feeling, I don't know if it's going to happen today, I don't know if it's going to happen tomorrow, but I got a feeling there's going to be some sort of surgical strike against the head of the snake. And I got a feeling that on top of that, There's going to be a lot of intel provided to these folks, and I hope to God that they get some weaponry because they don't have any weaponry. If somehow the United States can provide some weaponry to some of these people, if there's anybody on the
It
ground,
depends how they want to look at it, because once you put weapons in their hands, then it's a completely different story. Then public opinion might sway a little bit, so you got to be careful how they do that. It's all about PR as well, of course.
Sure.
So I think you can pretty much count on something happening in the next few days, like from outside, if you know what I mean.
Yeah,
So.
I totally think. I mean, after the text today, I have the text,
Yeah.
the post today. I think that's pretty clear.
Yeah,
It's going to be sooner rather than later. I give it 72 hours or less.
It's amazing, epic, man. 47 years later.
47 years later, January 7th.
With the 47th president of the United States.
I know, 47 and 47. That's there's some numerological resonance here. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, it's amazing. Faiza Hosanjani, she's one of the ones from Hamburg. She wrote me. She said, "You're my hero." I was like, "Don't even go there. Look over there. Look."
Yeah, look. Those are the heroes.
Yeah, well, because they don't understand. They get it and they understand it logically, but they don't understand emotionally how the entire left, who are out on the streets every day for Palestine.
Yes.
No one's saying a word. Excuse my French. About Iran. No celebrity, no Sean Penn, no Angelina Jolie, all these bleeding hearts, not a freaking word. Why? Because communism, Islamism, and the leftists, they're one. They're working together. Yeah.
Well, that's how they overthrew the Shah. Then the Islamists shot all the leftists and the communists.
Exactly. Yeah. They did the same thing in Russia.
Yeah.
Back in the day with Stalin.
Yeah.
They used the leftists. They did the same thing in Germany. They used the leftists to try to get in, and it didn't work, but they tried. And people are just... I wonder sometimes how people keep falling for the same thing over and over and over. Anybody who hey, let me join the leftist movement or the communist movement. Let me see what happened in the past. Take a look. Maybe I shouldn't join them.
Have you read the book Witness by Whittaker Chambers?
No, I haven't.
So, do you know who he is?
Yeah, I've heard of him, of course.
So he was on the staff of National Review with Bill Buckley. But before that, he'd been a communist. He came from a very wealthy family, and he'd been a communist. And there came a time where, he became a Christian, and he knew that he had to leave communism. But he did so believing he was leaving the winning side to go to the losing side, right? Because he thought the West was too far gone to defeat communism. And the jury's still out. He still might be right. I don't know.
Yeah.
The jury's still out. But then, there was the trial of the century when Richard Nixon accused Alger Hiss of having been a communist spy. And Whittaker Chambers was the primary witness, hence the name of the book, against Alger Hiss. And so the first 100 pages, it's a long book. It's a tome. It's 734 pages. It's crazy.
Wow.
Right? Dude, the first 100 pages are a slog. They're difficult to read. But once you start getting into the trial, you can't put it down. I stayed up till 4 a.m, 3 nights in a row reading this thing. And of course, I knew what happened. I mean, everybody knows what happened, but man, it was brilliant. I'm like, and then, every school child should read Witness, every single one of them. And I'd like to see it turn into a movie. A good friend of mine is Roger Simon, who was the founder of PJ Media and a Hollywood screenwriter. He was Academy Award nominated. And he wants to write the script for Witness, but he needs someone to come up with some money who's willing to make the darn movie.
We used to produce films, hundreds of millions of dollars. I raised $2.17 billion in 2025.
Really?
Yeah.
I should introduce you to Roger. Maybe you can help him out.
Yeah, let's talk, man. You never know. It's something that's good, something that's good like that has, in German they say Hand und Fuß, hands and feet.
Yeah.
There's always a potential for that. And I still have, back in 2005, 6, and 7, we produced films, my brother and I. We did worked with, what's his name? Lawrence Bender, who did the Tarantino films, and we did a slate for him. And, Israeli Discount Bank, we raised $35 million for that. And we did, all kinds of stuff we used to do. So, I raise funds. That's what I do. Not for films anymore, but I just actually spoke to someone who said that, hey, we have money we'd like to invest in entertainment. So that could be, I'm talking like the one guy in the UK, they have 15 family offices, like $50 billion to invest. Like, what? It's just ridiculous amounts of money. So I've already
A lot of money.
given them 7 projects. Yeah. That's where the 2.71 billion came from, just from them. They're funding those. It's seven or 8 projects they're funding right now.
Well, do you know Phelim and Ann McAleer?
No.
So they are conservative movie makers based out of LA. Phelim's got a rich Irish accent. I don't know if his wife does or not. I interviewed him a couple times. They made that movie about Hunter Biden the couple years back, starring Lawrence Fox and Robert Davi. Those are good guys. And I was introduced to Kevin Sorbo. The problem with a lot of these conservative and Christian film making outfits is they don't have access to the normal Hollywood bucks, because of.
Well, there is no normal Hollywood bucks. You're either with a studio or you're out begging.
Yeah.
Believe me, when I don't want to drop names, but my brother and I, we had a mortgage charter in Pennsylvania back in 2005, 6, 7, and we were printing money. You remember it was a time when the non-docs and all that stuff. It was like just free money every day, like 50, 60, 70 grand a day in profit. When people were like, "Hey, did you guys ever fund a film?" We're like, "What? No idea. What do you mean?" Or they said produce a film. I'm like, "I don't know how to produce films." They're like, "No, you just pay for it." I was like, "Oh, that's what production is, right?"
That's what production is.
And so we figured out a way to take property and leverage it at the bank as collateral for loans for these movies. And no one had ever done that before. So the New York Post comes out with an article about us, because we're twins. The twins came up with a new way to fund films. And we would dress the same shirt, same tie, same jacket, same everything.
Nice.
Because we figured if we're going to do this, people got to remember us.
Yeah.
And so they didn't remember our name or who we were or what we did, but they remembered the twins. That was enough.
Yeah.
And so we showed up at an event and they stood in a line for us. And in that line were people like Robert De Niro's producer and, like all these people, all this, because they all need money.
They do, sure.
Every single film needs money. And if a studio is not doing it, even then, no one wants to work with studios because studios will do this. They have to bring out 10 films a year. If you're the first film, you're screwed because after 6 weeks, they're cutting you off and they're going on to the next film. It doesn't even matter how much money that film's making unless it's like epic, like Titanic or something. Sure. They'll just push them aside and they'll go further. That's why no one wants to work with studios. So everyone seeks this other money. The hard part is getting that money because there's no guarantees.
No, there isn't. Right? It's not a sure thing.
No. So it's tough. I mean, music, the film industry is really difficult. I don't like it at all.
I got to say this, though. I think there is an absolute opportunity for people making non-woke movies to make good money from them.
Yeah,
because
definitely.
The traditional Hollywood movies have become so terrible, so woke, that people are starving for just good stories. Good stories. So
I agree.
If you got an Academy Award nominated screenwriter like Roger putting together a good story like Witness, and it's not hit you over the head political, because that's not going to work either, right?
It could, depending if it's far right or far left.
you know what I'm saying? Like, the theme's got to be universal that people can. Right, and that's really at the end of the day what we're looking for. All right, let me talk to Roger and let me see where that's at with him, and I'll connect you with them from there. And coming back to Iran, I saw Reza Shah Pahlavi do a interview on CBS News last night with Norah O'Donnell, and she was very tough on him and asked some borderline propagandistic questions designed to embarrass him. But he handled himself so beautifully well. And there were 2 things that she asked. She said, "Well, the Pahlavi's coming back. How's the world to know that you're not going to be an authoritarian, an autocrat like your father was?" I mean, what the hell was that for her to ask, right? The Shah was not an autocrat. That's a gross mischaracterization of.
Yeah, it's exactly what I wrote in my video. A gross mischaracterization. It's funny.
Yeah. But he handled it really well, and he basically said, "Come on, this is a gross mischaracterization." And I've always been clear. For 47 years, I've been consistent that I'm here to be a transitional figure to help bring Iran back to a golden age, and then it's up to the Iranian people to decide.
I've always wanted to go to Iran ever since I had all these Iranian friends. I always wanted to go, but as a soldier, ex-soldier and American, it was impossible. But
No.
people like, hey, come back. Like my assistant went back to Iran
Yeah.
after she was born in Germany, but then went back to Iran, lived with her mother, and started a women's running club. And they were like
Wow.
climbing, climbing mountains, running mountains and stuff, like a fitness club for women and stuff. She got really, really active, but then they started putting pressure on her, so she had to leave again. And then she went back to Munich. She lives in Munich now, and then her mom died right after she left, which was horrible.
That's terrible.
And so she's down in Munich right now. Incredible, incredible woman who just went over there and said, like, I'm doing something,
Good for her.
something. Yeah.
Good for
I thought
her.
that was pretty cool. Yeah. I'm just, I don't get impressed very easily, but it's like a, just even the guy in Switzerland that I know, the Persian guy in Switzerland, he was super gracious. He's like, hey, let me fly to Italy and meet you when you're there. And I'm like, well, I don't even know you. He's like, yeah, but I think you're a cool guy. I like how you talk. Let's meet. I'm like, okay. It's like just,
Yeah, Persians do that, man.
I know, man. It's like, it's so non-American. Americans say, yeah, come on over anytime. You show up, they're like, what are you doing here? I didn't mean it.
I didn't need it. Yeah. Yeah. And, on the weekend, there were a ton of demonstrations in cities across Canada, in the United States, in Europe.
Yeah, you don't see it.
No,
You don't see it. It's
on
not on the news.
Instagram though, it was all over.
Yeah, Instagram, of course. Yeah, Instagram. But you don't see it on the news, you don't see it on the media. And everyone should know there's something up. Because if there's a country, the people are fighting for their lives, and it's so blatantly obvious what's going on, but it's not on any news, and it's not anywhere on any mainstream media, then there's an issue there. People should realize that. But most people are stuck in their daily lives and don't even pay attention to the world, unfortunately.
No, amen. But it was beautiful to see that. And,
Yeah.
up until yesterday, I'm like, is Trump going to do something? Like,
Yeah.
and I was hearing reports that his vice president was arguing that we shouldn't intervene. We should come to a deal with these guys. So I'm like furiously typing away to Wayne and go, Wayne, you got to tell him you can't deal with these guys. They're the devil. They want to kill you. There's no.
Well,
deal
Trump
with
doesn't
that.
listen to JD. Trump doesn't listen to JD anyway.
Thank God for that, brother. Thank God for
Well, it's
that.
funny because when I was living in Berlin in 2009, there was the 2009 uprising,
Yes.
and I actually led the march through Berlin with I don't know how many Persians, like a couple thousand Persians. I was at the very front with my green ribbon and marching with them. And everything. I got all kinds of shit from the U.S. Embassy.
Really?
When I was oh yeah. I was well known in Berlin. I had cocktail bars and nightclubs and stuff like that when I was in Berlin. So everybody knew me, and I was sort of like a public figure. And they're like, "What are you doing, Steven? You're American. You can't be doing that shit, walking down the street like that with the Iranians. You don't know what's going on. You don't know what's going to happen." I'm like, "I know what's happening now. I'm marching down the street with them. Kiss my ass. That's it. What are you gonna do? Put me in jail? Give me a joke." And that solidified me in Berlin as like a friend of the Persians, I guess you could say. And of course, my clubs after that took off.
I love it.
Because Persians love to party. We know that.
They sure do.
So yeah, it was an interesting time. I got a really, really cool picture of the Persian guy and me. He's wearing the green armband, and I have a Chesterfield jacket with my suit and tie, and wearing a nice lapel, the green ribbon that we made. Really cool picture, like one of my favorite pictures of me in history. Awesome. Really cool. Yeah,
that's awesome. Yeah. Steven, keep doing what you're doing. Keep putting out information for folks. When you have an opportunity to do a video again, do it. If you want to do an Instagram live, you want to bring me on, I'd love to come on with you, especially once there's some news from Trump. That might be a good time for us.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna get the details. Oh, here it is. Look.
Oh, that's a great picture, man. That's a great picture.
Yeah,
dude,
really cool.
Very handsome.
Yeah. It used to be. Yeah.
I bet you put on a suit, you'll clean up good.
Yeah, I can still pull it off. I've never done a live on Instagram. Actually, I'm sure it's possible.
Well, dude, all you do is instead of post, you just do the live thing, and then you can send an invitation to whoever you want. I did one with my buddy Elon. So Elon is an Israeli American Canadian actor and businessman. He owns a watch brand called Agard Watches. He blew up when, Gillette made those anti-man ads. He put out a response from Agard Watches as to what is a man, a pro-man ad, and it had 60 million views in a day. It was crazy. And so he was all over Fox News and places like that. So he goes and he makes these videos. He says, I don't know what else to do, so I'll make these videos, right, to support
Yeah.
Iran. And I told him, listen, man, you want to bring me on? He goes, yeah, I'll bring you on. And I was on his. I'll send you the one we did together.
Yeah.
We had a
Well,
conversation, and it's a good time to do it as soon as there's some news. So when the
yeah.
decapitation strike happens, send me a WhatsApp. You'll go, yo, Nikki.
See what's going on. Well, you're talking about this is our other channel that not too many people know about. It's me and my sons,
Oh,
2.4 million
beautiful.
followers.
That's
We
awesome.
do little skits with our sons, like this, and we teach English basically.
I love it.
So
And it's head jokes. Yeah.
I'm drawing a blank.
so basically, I use slang words, and we teach everybody English, and it's my wife's idea. And
It's a great
within
idea.
6 months, within 6 months we had 1 million followers, and then we're not even 18. We're 16 months into it. We have 2.4 million followers. It's crazy.
That's wild.
Yeah. Well, it's because we do little skits, and I'm laughing all the time. I'm talking jokes, and then messing with the kids and stuff. So they're my stepkids, so they're Turkish, and so they're learning English, and I'm teaching them sort of how to talk the American slang.
Who's shooting the video? Do you have like a
My wife.
Your wife?
My wife.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, she shoots the videos, edits them. She writes it, edits it. We practice with her. She edits it. She posts it. She does. It's basically all her thing. We're just actors. Yeah,
God bless your wife, man.
yeah.
Send it to me.
URL.
Yeah,
I will.
And
Yeah.
I'll follow it, and that'll be cool.
It's a lot of fun. It's a lot. You're gonna laugh because it's funny. I'm slapping him in the back of the head and stuff. Like just being that typical guy, right? So and my Instagram, of course, Steven Eugene Kuhn, is all about TAB, Take America Back. It's a citizen servant leaders program with a book and a course of setting up a media company. We have education, publishing. We even have an anthem song being produced right now by a singer, which is incredible. And it's all about taking America back by the people, for the people. So we train citizens to become leaders. You can use this leadership training in anything, but to train them to come into lower levels of office like city hall, state, city councils, school boards, and things like that, and to come with one standard. And they're certified by university. I have a university certificate that when they take this course, they'll get a certificate. So they're certified. Then we'll start running a roster of Take America Back certified leaders in every party, right? So we're going to have one standard.
Connect you with Wayne's producer and go on his show and talk about
I
it.
would absolutely love that. I would absolutely love that because
I'll make it.
I have to raise about $10 million by the end of 26 to make this happen, because it's going to be a full media channel, publishing, news. I mean, I got people like Newsmax, General Holt, Blaine Holt. I don't know if you know Ron Lynch, who did the Real RFK documentary.
Yeah, I watched that on Angel. Yeah, it was really good.
Well, he's been a friend of mine for years. He's now in as well in TAB, and so is Blaine Holt. And so I have.
How can I help, man? If you wanna host, I'll be happy to host for you too. I'll be one of your hosts.
All right. Well, it'll be in Florida. It'll be a hard location, a brick and mortar in Florida.
So I'll fly in during the winter,
Yeah,
3
here we
weeks
go.
at a time, and we'll just shoot a lot.
Well, Blaine does that. Blaine, General Holt does that for Newsmax. He lives in Idaho, and he flies in Florida, does Newsmax, and flies home.
There you go.
He does the same thing. So, but I'm leaving. Like, you got to realize, I lived in 10 countries over the last 38 years.
Yeah.
Now I'm going home because of this, not because I want to do it. It's because I have no choice. This grew from me on my videos, just talking, and it just kept growing and growing and growing and growing and growing. And now we have millions of followers that want this to work. So I wrote the book, wrote the course, book's being edited, courses being certified. And the next thing you know, we're going to have citizen servant leader roster across America. We have right now 2 people running for governor that were never in politics, 4 people running for Congress that were never in politics, a sheriff, and some city council members all asking for the book right now because they want to run and they're ready to go.
Send me a short description of this. I'll go onto WhatsApp and I'll connect you with my buddy who's Wayne's producer.
Okay.
I'll get you on his show, and let's make that happen that way.
That'd be amazing. That'd be amazing.
Yeah,
right
yeah.
now I have, right now we're taking sponsorships so people can go to jointab.us, and just sign up for $5 a month or $6 a month or whatever it is, and help us and support us so we could grow and scale to get this thing out there and going. Because there's a vacuum right now. There's a vacuum in the American society. People are sick of the establishment. They're sick.
Yeah.
When Trump's gone, there is nobody else, right? There's nobody else. after Trump's gone. If we don't get people in place right now, it's going to be a big trouble in Little China, if you know what I mean. So it's time to make a move now. And that's what's happening. It's a vacuum. It's pulling me into it. I'm not even, I don't even want to go to the States. I love living here. I live in the Mediterranean. I'm looking at the Mediterranean right now.
Yeah.
And it's like, I love my life, but I'm going back because I have to. This is my duty. It's my call. I took an oath a long time ago in 1986, never given up. I'm going back. And sort of like my contribution to the country that birthed me.
Amen, brother.
And let's be honest. The whole world, basically, if we look at Venezuela, they're struggling. Iran's struggling. Everybody's struggling, right? And in America, what are we doing? In the wealthiest nation that ever existed on the planet, we're fighting with each other. Not thankful, not grateful, nothing. And it's horrible what's happening. We need to recalibrate and bring back what we're all about. And that's the republic. That's the people, for the people, by the people.
What you're doing is important, and it's got to happen. And the reason that you're fighting with each other is because dark, insidious forces came in, penetrated American society, and started to put you against each other. And I had a guy on my show several years ago. His name's Kent Clisby. He was a CIA case officer. He wrote a book called Willing Accomplices. He's not what you would call a brilliant writer with phenomenal prose, but what he had to say was so compelling I couldn't put the book down. Basically, he made the case that Soviet Russia in 1917 had a plan to create one world communist government, but they knew standing in their way was the United States in particular, and the West in general. And they couldn't take them on in a straight up fight. So they started to send agents into the US to destabilize the country from within. Their job was to destabilize the family, education system, media, and storytelling. And they've been extremely successful. And and that's what's happened. And Trump, I don't know if he explicitly sees this or not, but he's taken steps to counteract it, strong steps. And I believe that there's going to be, after Donald Trump, probably at least 8 more years of Republican rule at the presidential level. I think it'll be J.D. Vance who's going to win the election. He's not Trump, that's for sure. He doesn't have Trump's instincts, but
God, I hope not. I hope somebody else shows up.
At the moment, he's
the only one.
He's the only one. And
he's being groomed for it too. That's why he's on. You've never seen a vice president get so much airtime before, have you?
No.
Exactly.
Right now, it looks like the ticket's going to be Vance Rubio.
Yeah. Well, Rubio made that deal, didn't he? Oh, you probably don't know about that, but he made a deal about Venezuela. I said, I'll take care of Venezuela, but I want to be VP on the ticket. Like he literally was trying to leverage his way into the ticket by doing a deal in Venezuela. Crazy.
Well, what we got to have happen first is Iran's got to become free.
Yes.
Let's have that happen. What you're trying to do with your media company, I think, is a beautiful thing. And I'd like to help. I'll open up my my Rolodex, as it were, to you.
Look, it's not something I wanted to do. It's happening organically. Everything happened organically. The message happened organically. Take America Back. Citizen Servant Leader happened organically. The book happened. Everything is just happening organically. I can't even stop it if I wanted to. People are coming to me every single day. What can I do? What do you need? I got a production company. Let me produce some films for you. I got this. Let me do this for you. I don't have any money right now to do this. I'm like, no, don't worry about it. I'll do it pro bono. I got a guy that's like, hey, you can use my office in Florida and you can set up there for free. And because there's a vacuum for good. It's missing. There's nothing good right now. It's you against them against us, me against you. That's all it is. It's division. It's identity politics. People are sick of the establishment, sick of polished politicians and career bureaucrats. Because look, let's face it. You can change the top all you want, but if that system underneath it, of key punchers and check signers, they got to pay their mortgage. They got that weaponized debt hanging on their back. They're not stepping out of line.
No,
that's where we need to change. That's why I said we can only change from the bottom up and not from the top down.
No, it's there's a lot of truth to what you say. I really appreciate what you're doing for the people of Iran. I really appreciate that you're doing something to take America back, and I appreciate you taking the time, my friend. God bless you.
Hey, I appreciate you for having me on, Nikki. I like good people, and you're good people.
So are you, brother. God bless you.
Thanks, bro.
And that's a wrap.
Thank you for listening to the Sovereign Man Podcast. If you're ready to take charge of your life and become the man you've always wanted to be, we invite you to join the movement at sovereignman.ca.